A brand new remaster to Clash, a bunch of operator and balancing changes, as well as the full release of Siege X. Welcome to Year 10 Season 2, Operation Daybreak. Yes, thanks to Ubisoft, I've been in Rio this past week playing this new season, and I'm here to give you the rundown as well as some gameplay of what you can expect in Year 10 Season 2. Now, I will say, I'm going to omit a lot of Siege X stuff from this video because we've all seen it already for the past few months now. I want to focus on the new content coming alongside Siege X with this new season. So obviously the biggest thing here is the remaster to Clash. Not only does she have a brand new visual look, she also now has the Mark II variant of her CCE shield with help from Nighthaven, allowing Clash to be better than ever. So let's do a little bit of a rundown as to what has happened to Clash. So first and foremost, you can still walk around with your shield up as you always have been able to with Clash. And as well as this, she now has the free look ability, which does replace the input of her zapping, which is now controlled by an on and off toggle, which uses the same input as the action key, which is used to switch Zophia's concussions to explosives, for example. This will cause a constant zap whilst it is enabled, and then you can turn it off again once you want to recharge. Now, one of the biggest things here now is that Clash can place her shield and just leave it there. She can go somewhere else and do other tasks, but most importantly, she can still turn this shield on and off whilst it is placed. This then allows you and your teammates to strategize around this shield, with Clash having the ability to remotely turn it off and on, which can lead to some really cool scenarios like this one I got during one of the playtests. Now, something you need to be aware of is once your shield is placed, you can pick it up and place it as many times as you want. However, placing the shield is going to introduce some vulnerabilities, because when the shield is placed, it then has the same properties as a deployable shield or one of Osa's Talon shields. This means that it can then be destroyed by explosives such as Ash, Zofia, grenades, Flores. Pretty much any way that you can destroy a deployable shield or an Osa shield is then applied to Clash's shield if it is placed. But if she is holding it in her hand or has it placed on her back, because you can still have it on your back if you want to play like that, then those things will obviously not destroy it. The best way to think about it is Osa. If you're holding the deployable shield in your hand, an explosive won't destroy it, but if it is placed, it will then be destroyed. So something you do have to be aware of is when it is placed, you are opening the door to a bunch of vulnerabilities to get rid of the shield. A simple nade will destroy it if it is placed. And something you may be thinking is, since the shield is so high and you can't vault over it, what happens if someone just blocks a doorway with this? Can no one get through unless they blow it up? What if they don't have any explosives? Well, not to worry. If any attacker or defender wants to, they have the ability to bash through the shield and destroy it. So keep that in mind. Now, one of the coolest things is when you have the shield in your hand, it will be adaptable and collapse, quite similar to Blackbeard's, meaning that not only can you full sprint with your shield up with Clash, but do keep in mind your feet will be exposed, like Blitz for example, but you can also vault through windows and you can even bash through barricades, which is really cool. You can crouch as well. The shield will adapt and go into a crouching form if you do press that input. But don't worry, shield bashing is not a thing. Clash will not be able to run up to you as an attacker and put you on your back. But just know the electricity will not damage anyone, but it will still slow them down. But this just makes Clash such a more versatile and interesting operator. Although introducing new ways to play her, it also allows attackers to deal with her in a bunch of new ways as well. And across the board, it makes her much better to play as a defender and much better to play against as an attacker. I think they've done an absolutely incredible job here. Her secondary weapons are still the same as they were before. That SP5 SMG is an incredible weapon. Do not downplay it. It's like a pocket F2. But one of the things that I have already raised concern about, in my opinion, and I said maybe this isn't going to work going forward, is that now that Clash can be a bit more lethal than she was before, I see no reason to ever bring the super shorty for her, and I feel like that no longer is really going to be an important part of her kit or even be viable. But yeah, I managed to pop off a little bit with Clash in the playtest, so I hope these clips help you understand what I've been explaining, and just trust me when I say they have done an incredible job with her. Oh, and did I mention that Sledge got quite a big buff with this, as his sledgehammer will now knock Clash on her back, exposing her and giving you a free kill. This will also work against other shield operators in the dual front mode where attackers and defenders are mixed. So in that mode, a Monty can actually be played against a Sledge, and Sledge will have this effect on him, which is really cool, and I'm glad that Sledge actually got a buff. Now let's quickly talk about the electricity change, because I've already made a video about this on when it was first teased and sort of talked about, but I now know all the information and I want to explain it to you because it's actually really well done. So the basic premise is this: across the board, electricity will no longer damage any operator. However, it will slow down their mobility, as well as causing them to give audible cues of screaming, giving away their position. Now, the next thing here is that every single gadget in the game is going to be affected by electricity. So the same way that attackers' gadgets gets destroyed by an electrified wall, as will defender gadgets. All of which except from bandit batteries and electric claws, and you can still bandit charge barbed wire, for example, as well as deployable shields. And the big thing which a lot of people are wondering is that when you actually touch electricity. So if you are touching an electrified wall, it will not affect you. You won't even be slowed down. The only time when an electrified wall is going to actually affect your operator is if you're vaulting through it, which has been partially breached, for example. Same case as like barbed wire or a deployable shield. So that means that Maverick, for example, can get up close and personal with an electrified wall and it won't affect him. That means that Bandit and Kaid can do the same on their side. Heck, any operator can rub against a wall and they'll be completely fine. Mirrors can play against electrified mirror windows and be completely safe and not have any effect. They still want to have interactions such as electrified shields, electrified barbed wire, and if you do actions such as climbing over an electrified wall, these will affect you and slow you down. But simply just rubbing your shoulder to the side of an electrified wall isn't going to cause you any issues. I managed to get a really small bit of gameplay here where I bandited my own barbed wire, and it would show the effect of what happens if you were to walk through it. There's some changes coming to limb damage. I've not delved too much deep into this, but basically overall, shots to like the feet and arms will do less damage than they currently do. This is something we'll test more in the future once we get more hands-on with it, but I did want to let you know of this change. Right, let's jump into some of the operator balancing coming in Year 10 Season 2. The first is going to come to shields. This isn't a massive one, but it is quite impactful, and that is the fact that if a shield wants to jump through a window, they cannot do it ADS'd. This is because they need the shield in front of them to actually destroy the window itself. If the window is already open, then yeah, they're fine. They can jump in whilst ADS'd. But if they are using that shield to open said window, it will take you out of the ADS. This just removes that little layer of frustration of them being able to just jump through a window and instantly pre-fire someone. And let's be honest, this makes a lot of sense. If you're going to open the window with the shield, you need the full shield in front of your face. Next change is going to come to Blackbeard, and this isn't a major one, but it's something we've all wanted since he launched, and that is the fact that there is now a tint on his glass to help you understand when it is up and when it is down a lot more than you can now, and there's also a louder sound cue for when Blackbeard lowers his glass and goes lethal. This is just to make you understand when it's a good time to peek a Blackbeard and when it isn't, and you should have these variables when dealing with him. A great change in my opinion. Right, we already had some teases of this in the past week, but Jaeger did indeed get a buff this season. His ADSs will now counter Capitao, but not only will they counter Capitao, they will counter Gridlock as well. And I don't want you guys to look at this as a nerf for Capitao and Gridlock, although it technically is. I really want you to focus on the fact that Jaeger is becoming more of a viable pick now. Because at the end of the day, those two are projectile items. Why shouldn't the trophy system gadget counter them? Jackal is getting a change this season. I'm not saying nerf, I'm not saying buff, he's getting a change. So what they're doing to Jackal is when he scans someone's footprints, for example, he will ping them a certain amount of time, depending on how fresh or how old the footprints are. And he has the capability of doing this 3 times throughout the match. However, with this new change to Jackal, regardless of the age of the footprints, he will only ping this operator once. You're not going to get multi-pinged by Jackal. Him and the attacking team will only get 1 ping of you, and then your footprints will be completely wiped from the board, meaning that he has to make that track count. So that does sound like quite a big nerf to Jackal, but something they're doing to sort of balance that out is instead of having 3 scans, he now has 5, meaning that he technically has the capabilities to ping each of the 5 defenders once. But overall, I do think this is a nerf to Jackal, but I still think they've done it in a way which keeps him relevant. Thunderbird is getting a buff in this season, which I'm so glad she's getting, and that is the fact that the Kona stations will no longer heal attackers. This opens the door for you to place Kona stations wherever you like. You don't have to worry that attackers are just going to walk into sight and get healed. It's going to stop making her a bit of a burden to play and make her a proper healer. Now, something which I can confirm right now, which is really cool, is that due to this change, when Brava hacks a Kona station, instead of it just being destroyed, it will now flip it and make it an attacking Kona station. Makes a lot of sense. This is the best change they could have done to Thunderbird, and I absolutely love this. Something which you lore heads are going to love coming in this season is operator banter. I managed to get a little glimpse of this. I'll see if I can find it, but this is basically when you spawn in the match, operators are gonna talk to each other. This just helps build the characters, further the lore, adds a lot of world building and background, which I absolutely love, and I'm so glad that they've done this change. And I'll try my best to find it, but the one that happened to me was between Thunderbird and Doc. When we had them on the team and we spawned in, she started talking to Doc and was saying something along the lines of, oh, I'd rather use one of my Kona stations than handle a stim. You know, something along the lines of that. I'll see if I can find it.
There are less painful ways of administering aid than shooting someone with a syringe.
They have drones everywhere, Lostra.
But I was like, oh, this is really cool. Like, I love stuff like this, and I cannot wait to delve in more when this season releases and try and find as many as possible. I'm sure all of you who enjoy the lore are really excited for this feature, despite how minor it may sound. But yeah, I was like, oh my god, this is sick, and it's really fun. So I know I said I wasn't going to delve into it since we've already talked about it a bunch already over the past few months. But this is the season launching alongside Siege X, meaning that not only are we getting all the changes in this season, the remaster to Clash, all this stuff here, we're also getting dual front, 5 modernized maps with 3 coming each season, free-to-play access, environmental upgrades on the maps such as fire extinguishers, gas pipes, X, Y, and Z. When you actually account everything which is coming in Siege X and has been revealed over the past few months, as well as Operation Daybreak, which is the season it's launching into, this is one of the biggest updates in Siege's history. And the reason I don't want to delve into it in this video is because we've already talked about it, and I'll be sitting here all night talking about weapon inspection coming, advanced repellent. I already have videos on that stuff if you haven't seen it, but I'm sure a lot of you all know the stuff coming in Siege X. But I've been absolutely blown away by everything that's been shown. I truly do appreciate how much effort has been put into this, and I cannot wait for all of you guys to try this. So I'm going to get into the lore video very soon, so make sure you're subbed for that. But yeah, be sure to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about Operation Daybreak, Year 10 Season 2 of Rainbow Six Siege, launching alongside Siege X. Trust me when I say that the Clash rework is an absolute banger. You're going to have tons of fun with it. And even though I only played it for about an hour and a half, I was absolutely loving it, and I cannot wait to play more as I'm sitting recording it right now. So drop a like on this video if you did enjoy. Make sure you sub if you're new for new content coming all the time, and I truly do appreciate it. Have a great rest of your day. I love you all. Stay safe. Peace.